This is the Real Mom Hub. Keep listening for relatable content.
I haven't had a corduroy pant since I had your hand-me-downs in the 90s.
Did I have corduroy pants?
Oh yeah, I think I had like multiple pair of like a bootcut khaki corduroy pants with those bubble t-shirts. You know what I'm talking about? It was like plastic, like over. It was like a graphic tee, but it was plastic over.
Your cords were brown.
Yes.
Yeah. And you loved to wear them with your horse shirt.
Oh, the one that Mom surprised me with.
It was, did she? I didn't know.
Yeah.
It was like the era of the
horse
wolf shirt, you know?
No,
the much vilified wolf. No, I'm saying it was the same era.
Oh.
But you were like a cute child with your horse shirt.
And it was a cute preppy horse shirt. I hope Mom listens to this. And we were at Kohl's. I was not very old. And I vividly remember this. We were at Kohl's and we got like one new thing because it was back to school.
Yeah.
And I was living in hand-me-downs, like fully.
Same, actually, as the oldest, which how does that work?
So I was the third owner of my hand-me-downs, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So we're walking through and I was really into horses and I was kind of preppy and I saw this shirt. And I just loved it. But for some reason, like it just wasn't the right move. And I think I made the call to get this other shirt. Maybe it was less expensive or something. And we come home and Mom has bought also this horse shirt.
Mom, she just snuck it in there?
Yes. And I will never forget this horse shirt. I bet she has forgotten.
I think you wore that daily. Like I think you wore it until Mom would peel it off your body for the wash.
Yes, with my brown cords. Oh,
and it had it's back, and I hate it, but it was really cute when you wore it. The like ruffle stitch on the sleeves, so 90s. Is that true?
No, it didn't.
That one didn't have it?
It had a built-in button down underneath it.
The horse shirt did?
Yes, it had a white. Oh, I probably had two horse shirts. I did. The one I'm thinking of is like purple stripes with a horse, and it had. Oh no, you're thinking of my green horse shirt. It said main attraction.
No. That was middle school almost for you. I was thinking of a different horse shirt that I actually think Grandma got you. Now that I'm thinking about it. Who knew you had so many horse shirts?
Well, the moral of the story is Mom did that one little thing and I remember it and will always remember it. So.
I mean, that's one of the lessons that I keep absorbing from our mother. And I just keep wondering when it's going to surface in my everyday life, you know?
Yeah.
Just do this.
Do this small thing with great love. Mother Teresa said something like this.
Yeah, do the small thing with great love. Yeah, that one.
Oh, that is funny. How are you on this Wednesday? Ooh, sound good.
You know what?
I'm going to edit that out. She's coughing.
Yeah, still my COVID cough, 6 weeks in. No, I'm doing great. Our Aunt Nancy is here, and she was Kieran's caretaker for like 4 or 5 months. She's amazing. She's here at a social call, like to hang out with us.
Oh.
Which I was really excited about. And then I'm like, well, I've got this thing. She's like, I'll just watch him. And I'm like, well, it's like totally not why you were here. And now I feel a little badly about it. Anyways.
Well, that's your village, baby.
My village is here. Yep. My village is here. 100%. Not my husband, but my village. Anyways, so let's dive into the pod. Sometimes I forget we're recording a podcast because it's just you and me talking, which happens, all the time anyways. But I guess we're recording right now. So for our dear listeners, just a note moving forward about the structure of the podcast. We are so excited to continue talking to the women in our community, just everyday moms hearing about their stories. And we're going to continue that with our family members. But between the guests, we're going to do a little solo episode today because we're thrilled with the engagement so far. So thank you so much for your support, everyone. It's been really, really fun to watch you show up and listen to us and give us your feedback. It's just been really special. So thank you for tuning in. A lot of you are dear friends and family members at this point in these early days. However, some of you are not in other countries, and that's pretty cool. So we're going to get a little personal today. So we've pulled in...
I don't like how you said that. I thought we had a plan. Are you deviating from the plan?
I thought our plan sounded really personal.
Oh, okay. Great, let's do it.
We'll see if the episode content shocks Callie. We pulled in a third party mediator here, ChatGPT. So I requested of ChatGPT earlier today, give me hard-hitting questions to ask my sister. So we've got a whole list pulled up here of these questions. Neither of us have read the questions yet. Okay. What's something that you've always wanted to do but haven't pursued yet, and what's holding you back?
This one's easy, and I don't think I'll ever do it, and I'm coming to peace with it. I'd really like to through hike a trail.
Why do you think you're never going to do that?
Because I've read a lot of books about it. So, like, I'd probably do the Appalachian just because it's the thing. The PCT is so cool, like the Pacific Crest Trail, in case you're not super into reading about people hiking. I don't know why. I just feel like the Appalachian is what I would do. I think it's because two of our aunties have done it.
Okay.
You know? So I just like to walk what they, I don't know.
Wait, why do you think you're not going to do this?
Because I think you only really commit when it's the most important thing to you. And I've read that from a couple different perspectives of people that have hiked it. So I've read two full memoirs about it. One of them was from an older man, and his wife had just died, I think. And he did have grown kids, but he was like needing this. There was a point where he almost turned back when he was on the trail and went home. I think one of his kids had a baby or something. But that was like the closest he ever got to not finishing it. And he said, like, he realized, or someone told him, the only people that finish this trail are people that don't have anything that's more important to them. The only way I could see it happening is if Kevin came with me.
I was just going to say, I hear you say you always want to do this thing. And I'm like, hello, had babies when you were 25.
Oh, that's true. So yeah, the only way I would see it happening is if Kevin did it with me once our kids are grown. But then I'm even like, it's either before they're having babies or after. And I don't know if I'll ever get to that point where I'm okay with not knowing what's happening to them till I hit the next town. Like, that's just a wild thing to think about.
Sure.
So I always thought I would do it right after college.
What's so attractive about that to you?
I just think the personal transformation is astounding for everybody that does it.
Tell me more.
It's just so hard. And I'm drawn to that.
I sure do. Yeah, hard physical. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know why you're asking me.
Yeah, but there are plenty, like you could say, I'd like to become a triathlete, or, I mean, there are plenty of hard, like, why that? You've also expressed to me you don't necessarily like alone time or know what to do with your thoughts. So, I mean, maybe that just adds a layer of hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, like, the triathlon has never really appealed to me. Like, I ran a marathon, that was cool, but it's not so crunchy. Like, it's not you being one with nature. And I love the aspect of you are kind of at the mercy of the elements.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
Like, it's just so, and you're in nature. I mean, that's the piece about like the other athletic feats, that it's much more sporty. Sure. I love that. Like, you're on a mountain, there's a lightning storm. Like, what do you do? Or in the other really appealing piece to me is the family. Like, once you hike the AT with someone, even if you hike a week with this person, like, you've shared such unique experience and you just meet so many cool people. And
that's how Auntie Lisa, last episode, we didn't even dive into this. This is how she met
I was
her husband.
Back.
I mean, that's an incredible story. They met, and
we didn't even really acknowledge that he was German till like way later. So she met.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so just to your point, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I was reading this to you and I was like, oh, shoot. They're like, how do I choose one? Like, I don't know. I always thought I'd live abroad for a while. I always thought I'd, have a period of world traveling. I always thought I'd be like super tatted up by this point, if I'm being honest. I thought that I would have, owned a business. I think like owning a business, kind of figuring out how to meld lifestyle and vocation and purpose in harmony has always been. I've always just assumed, honestly, that I would do all of those things. And I haven't. I mean, I've traveled a little bit, not a ton. I haven't lived abroad.
You've traveled a lot more than the average American.
I've traveled.
Yeah.
I've lived, I don't feel the need to live abroad anymore, but I wouldn't say no to it.
Mm-hmm.
it's just interesting. And this is such an indication of our personalities. I ask you this question, you're like, this one thing, and I've thought about it. I've actually read books about it. And here's what I thought it was going to be. Here's what I think, like, you're just like so zoned in on this one thing. I'm like, oh my God, which one do I choose? I've like all these things I thought I'd do. What is holding me back? I think the answer is just all the shiny things. I can't focus. I don't know. I don't just like a tattoo for sure. For instance,
That's
I
the
have
funny part.
zero.
That's not that hard.
No, I have zero ink on my body. And I've been thinking about what tattoos I'm going to get since I've been like a teenager. And the ideas last for roughly 3 months. And I'm like, thank God I didn't.
So you basically are saying you can't tell me the answer. Well, you said a couple.
I just gave you like 20
Yeah, you
answers.
did.
I don't know.
Wait, was part of it what's holding you back?
Yeah, that's the thing. My distraction,
Oh,
my
okay.
inability to focus and like hone in on the one thing. Like businesses, for example, I've always been thinking about like, oh, what business could I start? What business would I run? And then, push comes to shove, never quite do the thing.
Well, because I feel like you've done a lot of things. You need a little I don't think you need a reality check because you just like to dream and that's great. But like your attitude about it is kind of funny to me because you're like, I just haven't done the thing. Like you've done a lot of those things.
I guess when I say I haven't done the thing, I'm like, I guess I have high expectations for what. And I always need a reality check. Are you kidding me? What do you mean I don't need a reality check? This is why you're here.
Yeah, that's probably true. You did have a baby, which I don't think you ever like fully like sort of meshed that into the other dreams. So that kind of threw a wrench in a good way.
And what's really funny is I would never say like, oh, I always wanted to have a baby. That's actually the opposite of true. I never wanted to have a baby.
Yeah.
I always just assumed I would have a family. And I was always really excited about having a family. When I fell in love with Kyle, I was like, oh, he's going to be an amazing dad. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just an inherent truth that I would have a family. But for some reason, it was always like, I don't know, like a handful of kids who were in elementary school and older.
They came out like
years.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I like this one.
Oh.
How do you feel you've changed the most in the last few years, and what are you still working on? Or what's the hardest truth you've had to face about yourself?
I don't think I can handle that question. So
okay.
I don't know. I think there's before Kieran and after Kieran, which is also lumped with living in the Pacific Northwest and then moving back to the Midwest. So I think just huge transformation with motherhood, which is the last year. So I really like nice things. I like being comfortable. I like having money. I like working. I like, honestly, a lot of those things are all about myself, frankly. And we're in a season of taking risks, and all of those things are not really available to me in the way that they have been.
Literally, as you were listing them off, I was like,
Yeah. And I've made that choice. I'm actively participating in that. So I think the change is ongoing. But I guess if I were to really peel back the layers, I think my ego is shifting in a way that's hopefully making me a better person. What I'm really, really working on right now is I think I know I'm a bit much, which I like about myself. But I really need to just keep my mouth shut a little longer most of the time and be more thoughtful. And be more generous and kind to those around me. Like I feel very angular as a person moving back to the Midwest. Everyone here is like Midwest nice, which is hard for me. As opposed to what I see as like genuine connection. And that's not everyone. You can't lump everyone into a specific geographic. But it makes me feel more angular and edgy. And I think I'm pretty basic. So that's a weird thing to feel. Like I'm a pretty basic white girl in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I'm working on the balance of accepting that about myself and figuring out what I want to do about it.
I think obviously motherhood is just the biggest shift I think possible in your life. So that's how I've changed. I mean, there's so many things that go along with that. And I agreed with a lot of what you said. But for myself, I would just like to have more joy. Just in my day-to-day, when I was still a public school teacher, which I loved in a lot of ways, but it was hard to go to work in the morning, most mornings, because you just know you're in for a lot of hard. And so my first couple of years, I would pray every morning, like, help me, bring happiness to my kids, or like help me have a happy day. It'd be about like happiness. And then I realized, when Charlie started getting a little bit older, like, it's not happiness, it's joy. Because joy can still be, in raw, hard moments, you can still have joy.
Yeah.
So then the last couple of years, that was always my prayer on the way to school, like, help me feel joyful, help me bring joy. And I've made some changes in my life to not have to ask for help as much with that one. Like, I'm not, teaching in public school, which was really hard. But there's still times when I really could have some more joy, like when my house is messy or my husband doesn't get home when I think he's going to get home, or,
Is that joy? Is that joy or is that happiness though? I mean, happiness.
Well, the messy house I could have joy about. I could say, look at all of
Like-
our things that we own. Like right now, I can say there's a bunch of crafting stuff out because we're making Halloween costumes. Like that can be joyful and
True.
happy. That could also bring happiness when my house is clean.
Guess I'm just, what's the difference between happiness and joy?
I just think happiness is feel good and easy. Happiness is easy. Joy
Okay.
is not necessarily easy. Joy can be present in most of your life. Happiness is not going to be present in a large portion of life, I feel.
Oh, I feel the opposite.
What?
Not in every respect. Yes, happiness I think is easier, but I think you can manufacture happiness. I think you can actually make happiness a constant. I think you can
Like little dopamine situation?
totally.
Okay. Like a
but
pedicure, some chocolate.
Yes, you can
Okay.
totally manufacture your life in a way where you have the routine, the lifestyle, whatever, that actually provides you with happiness. I think joy is so much deeper. There's a little bit more of a profound connection to whatever's bringing you
Mm-hmm.
joy. And that I don't think you can really manipulate into being.
Well, but it's so much about perspective
Absolutely.
and your
That is very true.
emotional, spiritual well-being, at least for me.
Yeah. So maybe joy seeking could be a practice versus happiness
Yes.
with habit driven. I don't
I
really
think
know.
for me, it's truly a mindset shift. Like, that mindset book that everybody read. It's not sitting on my shelf and it's been years since I read it, but I was like, oh yeah. My friend Hannah, oh my gosh, this literally is making me angry saying it, but she's right. Well, that's a choice. Basically, like your mindset is a choice, which is such a string player thing to say. But at a certain point, like it is.
Yeah.
So I think if I could just really practice that and have a mindset of just accepting the joy and seeing the joy more often, that's always helpful in my day-to-day with small children.
Do you feel truly supported by the people closest to you? Or do you sometimes feel alone in your struggles?
I think there's different people for different supports. Sometimes I would go to Kevin for support for something. Other times I'm going to go to my sisters or my friends. I guess I don't know how to answer that.
Do you truly feel support from the people in your inner circle?
Yeah. I think Kevin and I have the most dissonance with this at the moment because we're literally doing life together. So we have the most opportunity for, feeling misunderstood at the
Yeah.
moment. But I do think there's, it's hard to communicate. I have all these part-time jobs right now, like so many things floating around. And I'm trying to schedule time to do that work in between naps and some childcare. And then when he's home, but then he does a, 9 to 5 job and he's gone all day. But then he comes home and he still wants some chill, but I want to clean the house. I guess, there's just a lot to juggle right now in our lives. So I know he supports me at the core of it, but day-to-day interactions are sometimes challenging for us at this stage.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How about you?
Do you feel alone in your struggle?
No.
That's good. That's great.
I mean, motherhood's hard. Like being a person is hard, but I just assume
Yeah.
it's hard for everybody.
Yeah. I feel the same. I do feel supported by the people closest to me. I feel I have some community building to do here in Milwaukee, but I more often than not feel really lucky for the number of people that I could call who, on any given day for any given struggle that they might uniquely be able to tackle with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Ooh, we're getting spicy. If you could change one thing about a relationship, what would it be and why?
You and our relationship?
Like ours. What do you think, Kelly? Is this personal yet?
No, mine's going to be nice.
Oh, say it.
I wish we lived closer.
Wait, that was mine. I was immediately like...
All right, that was annoying and sappy. Moving on.
Oh, is there anything you
Oh,
wish I
yeah.
understood better about you,
Whoa.
but haven't asked?
Now I'm wishing I would have read these ahead of time. Huh.
With you specifically, no. I find it so helpful when you don't understand me
Bleh.
or when my actions or behavior cause friction or confusion or dissonance for you, because often in those situations I'm getting in my own way. I think with you specifically, it's generally helpful for me when you don't understand me.
Like it's a data point of like other people might also feel this way.
No, I just get called out by you.
Bleh.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just helpful for self-knowledge, because I'm like, well, do I feel validated in my perspective? Sometimes yes, because we're just different people and that's fine. Or sometimes it's like, seriously, yeah, Emily, get over yours. Like, calm down. Like, what's your deal? So I guess that's an interesting piece of our relationship to me, is when you don't understand me.
We're really annoying right now.
Yeah, I kind of hate us.
Me too. I think you understand me better than myself sometimes.
Oh,
Like, honestly. And I mean, you're 4 years older. She's 4 years older.
thank you.
She's older.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you.
So, like, you watched me grow. Yeah, I hate us. All right. I don't. We're really lucky. I love us. All right, moving. Can I move us along?
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny. You're not going to care about this question, and I am. What do you think your life would look like if you weren't worried about other people's expectations? Emily says exactly the same.
No, actually not at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, so my immediate thought is I think if I wasn't worried about other people's expectations, I think I would just like take some cash. Like, I would liquidate something in our life and, I don't know, buy a freaking ranch somewhere. I would be in Montana and I would be like probably like throwing my head against the window trying to start some sort of like digital free online, like some sort of business that is digital, that would help me create a lifestyle where I could fly back home when I wanted to.
Who's stopping you from doing that?
My responsibility to Kyle, to our family, to Kieran, to
Yeah, does Kieran, like, because Kieran can't have expectations yet, but that was my next
expectations of
question is-
myself, I guess. Like, that's wildly irresponsible, and I also don't have a good idea. I just think I probably would experiment a lot more. But there are familial expectations, like familial, extended family, friends' expectations,
Yeah.
expectations of being responsible. And those are all really good. I'm not
Yeah.
resentful. I'm grateful more than anything else. But that was my gut feeling. It was like, I'll live on a prairie in a cabin. It'd be like, I'd probably try homesteading and probably fail. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's a funny image to me because you love cities. So I'm so confused why you picked Montana.
Yeah, that's why I'd have to figure out how to generate a lot of revenue so that I could get to cities really often
Like,
and visit my
once a
family.
week. Like, we're not talking like.
See? This is why you're good for me. Called out. I'm just telling you where my gut went.
Yeah.
And would I ever move away from our family? No, like, I'm not.
And I love that you circled back to those are really good grounding things, because I think we forget about, or we don't see those grounding realities as a positive thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure when that shift happened, because our parents are all like, those things are the most important, I feel like, in general, not specifically our parents, but that generation of, boomers and whoever's next, those realities and doing the right thing is the most important thing. And then we've totally pivoted the other way. So it's good, I think, to acknowledge that we can have dreams and we can achieve some of them, and it's okay to not achieve all of them.
Yeah. I'm 22. I'm going to accomplish all my dreams.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you are.
Reality track. Thank you. What do you think your life would look like if you weren't worried about other people's expectations?
Yeah, it's funny. I'd also be out west. I think I probably would be just outside. I might have done. I mean, this is if I didn't marry Kevin. And so it's not even an expectation. Like, if I was single, I maybe would have done my hiking and then I'd be doing something else super outdoorsy. I don't know. Charlie has this book from the library. It's like hotshot firefighters in the wilderness, and it's the ones that like fight like wildfires. And I did not know about this group of people. And according to this children's book that's really intense, they like backpack and climb and hike and lift weights all day so they're ready
Yeah.
to like go fight fires. And I was like, that could be me.
Shout out to my friend Megan McClure. I'm pretty sure that's what her sister does.
Can we have her on the pod?
Well, Megan, yeah, I've already asked.
Oh, that's
We could ask her
so
about Emma.
cool.
Emma, who became a certified doula
Oh,
after Megan gave birth, and she was there for Megan's birth.
so let's change this question. Callie would just be Emma.
Feel like you're living a life aligned with your values, or are you compromising in ways you wish you didn't have to?
I wish that I could have twice the hours in every day so that I could spend. No, I don't. I was gonna say it's like twice as much time with my children and also have a career. And then I said that and I was like, I kind of like the break sometimes. But my values really want me to be super present for my kids and to have like a really intentional hand in their day to day, like all the time. And then I also want a career, which means not always being with my kids, which does clash with my values at this stage in life.
Do you feel like setting your family up for financial success is part of the value pillar?
I used to. And more I'm kind of like, money's money. Like I'd like financial stability and like to not have to worry about it and to go on nice trips and go to Montana. And that'll be nice. But I think it's more about the like work aspect for me. Like I really like problem solving, not just with my household.
So am I hearing you correctly? You don't actually think that work is within your value structure?
For myself, because Kevin could be the only one working and we could just be really poor for a while.
But you like work. I mean,
yes. See, I'm confused. But I'm not sure if it was like Kevin wants us to be more financially secure. So he's mostly the reason why I'm careful about like what jobs I'm going to do and what the income's going to be. Because he really wants to make sure we're like saving well for retirement. Which good thing he's here, because I would probably be like, it'll come.
Yeah.
I think without him having that feeling, I'd probably be like, well, you're making enough for us to survive right now. We'll piece it together and figure it out later. But see, this is confusing because I'm not mad about it. Like, again, I like working. And I do feel very blessed this year that every job I'm doing, I actually love to do.
Yeah.
I was back at the school I used to teach at yesterday. And they were just asking me about life. And I'm just looking around the public school thinking, wow, I get to do all of the parts of this job that I loved. And I don't have to do any of the stupid parts. So it's great. Like, I love it. I just still am at odds with wanting to be that mom that's so chill with just kids all around because I'm used to it. And I
mean, you are that mom.
Not to the extreme of other women in my life.
You feel like that mom to me when you're in my house or I'm in your house with all our kids.
That's good.
Could you move yourself? I mean, it sounds like you personally really value work. You like work. So are you excluding yourself?
I value it or I like, I do. Okay. I value working hard, but being a mom is working hard. Like there's no way in which I could not work hard in this stage of my life.
I just think it's enough that you like working. I mean, do you value yourself more when you're working? Because what you haven't talked about is yourself in this equation. You've talked about values that apply to your kids, that apply to, Kevin.
I just kind of have fun doing my other jobs. I mean, they're stressful sometimes, but yeah, I guess I enjoy them because they're more exciting than the grind if you're with your kids all the time and you're just like,
I mean, do you value your kids seeing you having joy and happiness in your life for yourself?
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
It just sounded like you're trivializing the work that you like to do because you keep saying, I like it, I like it, and I like it. And knowing you don't really care if you like something. You're like, well, that's fluffy, that's nice, that's whatever.
Yeah, maybe that's why, because it's like my jobs are fun for me right now. And the child rearing is harder. So I'm like, maybe.
Totally. I just think it's legit though. Like their grandma watches them when you're not with them.
Or Charlie's in Montessori.
Or he's in Montessori, which he loves.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's interesting. I guess I was worried it was about the money. But actually talking it out, the money piece is partly there. Like, I I wanted those corduroy pants from Quince, which I definitely wouldn't do if I wasn't working right now because we would not have any extra, literally any extra income. So there's a little bit of that for me, but I guess a lot of the financial piece is also just like being in a partnership with my husband who wants to be responsible with our money, which is also a valid reason to be working. Huh. Interesting.
What was the question?
I don't remember. It's your turn.
Do you
but-
feel like you're living a life aligned with your values, or
Oh.
are you compromising in ways you wish you didn't have to?
Oof. All right. That was intense.
Unclear?
Yeah. I
TBD?
don't think I
Work in
answered it.
progress?
Yep.
I'm the same for different reasons. There's some values, it's disproportionate right now. And something I'm working on is just being okay with the pause in trying to figure out how to balance everything.
What do you mean disproportionate?
It's out of balance. My life right now, the way my Monday through Friday looks, is if you were to have value pillars, they would not be equal. So I'm just in a season, and I am trying to value this season for what it is, which is Kieran is really small. He's a little over a year. I'm able to be with him almost constantly, which is incredible, and, you know, pour into him. And it's a newer chapter, which maybe we will talk about in our next solo episode together. Yes, I think my life is aligning with my values right now because Kyle and I talk about them constantly, and we have a plan to make sure that they all come into focus the way we want. So we are prioritizing them, but I would say our day to day, both of us in this moment, no, it is not aligned. It's like us fighting to line them up. And part of my work right now is to just be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling from every working mom that I know that is constant. Your kids are grown.
Yes. Well, and as your kids grow, that you need to readjust, you need to reprioritize, you need to kind of like put some values on the back burner. They're not gone, they haven't disappeared, but they're not front and foremost. So I've also heard that, and that makes a lot of sense. I think this is the first time in my life where I'm like, oh, yeah, fully hear that, feel it right in my bones right now.
Yeah.
So the answer is no, and I'm not concerned about it, which is interesting. Yes and no. Yeah, here we are. How do you think our upbringing shaped who we are today? Like, I don't know. Like,
I do think family loyalty is huge.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
and I have never like gotten into a huge riff, but
No.
It's not like things were hunky dory when we were kids. Like we fought a lot, all of us.
No, I was really mean. I was fully a psychological bully for
and
sure.
I was a big wimp. But I think even if something does go down, like we will be so loyal. I mean, that's true for our extended family too.
Oh,
It's just
100%.
loyalty is huge.
Huge.
And just exploring and being curious, I think loyalty is a standard for a lot of families. I think the curiosity is kind of more unique to ours.
Curiosity and focus on personal growth. I mean, I would say mom and dad's parenting very much the style, and this is something I really want to give to Kieran. When I would come home with a problem from school or playgroup or whatever, if there was a problem, they would never rush to defend. They would be like, "Oh, you had that problem. What was going on with that person?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think this happened?
How did you handle it?
How did you handle it? Yeah, what did you do? How did you use your agency in this specific situation? Or what are you going to do about it? If you'd like to talk that through with me, that's fine." And we always knew that if there was an issue of safety, or we could always rely on them to protect and defend. Always.
Yep.
But their first stop was always, what did you do though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was so surprised in high school, my freshman year. I had a class that it was supposed to be an English class, and we ended up watching 6 different movies all about genocide, which looking back, I'm like, that was ridiculous. And I was having nightmares. Like, it was bad.
That's horrible.
I mean, like Schindler's List, Hotel Rwanda, Black Hawk Down.
Oh my God.
I mean, it was.
I've never seen Schindler's List. I don't think I could handle that.
I think I'm glad I've watched it. I'm not glad that it was freshman year, but I never would have chosen to watch it by myself. So I'm kind of glad I've, been forced to watch it once. But it was ridiculous. And I remember mom calling my English teacher, and I was like, what? She's doing what? Because that's so not the norm. And basically,
that is very outside their behavioral patterns.
And actually, all she did was really question why he was doing it. And then she was unhappy with the answer. And I knew that. She called him Mr. Genocide for the rest of high school. But
savage, Anna Leary.
All that went down was he said, you don't have to watch these movies. If you'd like to go to the library, you can. So she didn't even say like, my daughter will not be watching these movies. It was like, it was still my choice. Yeah, I was so surprised when she called because that's not their style.
Well, but their style is, why? Let me ask the
Mhm.
questions first. Let me not just take my experience and ram it down your throat, but like, can you tell me your thought process behind this before we
Yeah.
get into it?
Yeah.
Getting context on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a high bar. I mean, they expected us to tackle our own life and happen to our life in that way. And also, there were expectations on us in terms of our behavior. Like, they expected us to do it well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
however we responded.
Yep.
That's honestly kind of rare in our generation, that kind of parenting. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just hear about all of the issues with parents and kids in daycare and kids, which that's different. I mean, the kid doesn't really have agency as much then, but and in, I hear from school teachers all the time that the parents are the biggest problem, and I'm just like, why can you not trust your 10-year-old? Their kids are so smart.
Mm-hmm. How do you measure your success? By traditional standards or your own? Are you satisfied with where you are?
I don't think I measure my success by traditional standards. I think that's a product of being homeschooled for most of my school age years, but also our parents. I think our parents made a ton of non-traditional choices that, like, in hindsight, are pretty amazing. Just cool. They're cool people.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think I really measure them by traditional standards. I think I measure them by my own, but I do need external validation, which I've always gotten from work. Oh, you know what? I guess like in my marriage, we're the only two who measure that success. And we measure that by just each other's satisfaction day to day. We talk a lot about like big picture things, small picture things. I don't know. That's a really hard question, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the second one's easy for me. Are you satisfied with where you are? Absolutely not. I think I'm always hungry, and it will be a while before I figure out how not to be. And I'm okay with that.
That's funny.
I'm grateful. I'm always grateful.
Yeah.
No, I'm not satisfied. Are you kidding me? How about you?
I mean, I'm usually pretty traditional, but then I go rogue because just like our parents, they're pretty traditional on paper and then not when you dig deeper. Yeah, that's kind of a hard question. I do think if I'm adding value to the world, that's a good marker for me. So, am I adding value in the jobs that I'm choosing to do? Am I pouring into my husband, my kids? And how do I tell? I don't know. Hope. I mean, external validation is probably a larger marker for me than I want it to be. So, when I'm receiving a lot of external validation, I'm feeling pretty good. I think that's pretty common for most human beings.
Yeah. I think as you're talking, I'm like, non-traditional, traditional. Like, I don't, in my career and in my choice of lifestyle or living, it's always been prompted by curiosity. Like, am I curious about this work or this thing or this industry or this place? Okay, I'm going to get after that. I'm just purely, it feels like scratching an itch.
Mm.
And I'm curious about how I measure up to that thing and how I can grow. But I think if I'm measuring by my own standards, I'm like, are you cool? Like, how cool do you feel doing this? And it's not like a popular kid club thing. It's like, do these people think I'm cool? It's like, do I think my life is cool right now?
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. It's because I'm doing things I'm interested in.
That's right.
And hopefully I'm serving whatever community I think is cool at that moment. What's a fear or insecurity you struggle with that you rarely talk about?
I have plenty, but I feel like I talk about them.
I have a fear often. Like, sometimes I'll leave social interactions and I'll be like, were my words harmful? Because I just process very quickly. Sometimes I worry I'm too much in a way that is harmful, or that I didn't give those around me enough space, that I steamrolled.
The one I think about the most right now is truly my parenting. But it's because I'm getting external criticism, which I think most millennial parents are. So it's not a unique struggle. I think a lot of people resonate with that.
I don't even know that it's a generationally specific struggle. I think our grandparents are unique in that grandma just has always adored mom and just loves so hard and mom's so great. I mean, she could do nothing wrong in grandma's eyes, I think. And for Baba and Grandpa, I mean, I've talked with them about this. They've made such an intentional choice to just support their adult children in their marriages. I mean, they just don't comment in their child raising. I mean, I know it's a conscious decision and they do it so well and so gracefully. So I don't think our examples are typical.
That is so true. I've never thought about that. I remember this is probably around the same time as that horse shirt era for me. But I remember mom had been through, I don't need to like spread mom's hardships on the podcast, but it had been a very hard time in her life. I knew that things were really tough. Mom was very sad and I knew that, and I wasn't old enough to like understand why. And there were reasons that make a lot of sense. But I remember we were driving somewhere and it was like the kids and mom and Baba was in the front seat. And I just remember her looking at mom and saying, "You are such a great partner," or something like this to Mark. And I'm just so grateful that you're here for my son. I mean, this was probably 20 plus years ago.
Yeah. She says that to me on the phone all the time. I think she said, I think this was yesterday, I called her for her birthday. She said, yeah, you know, my son married the opposite of his mother. He found a woman who was my opposite in every way. And she is just the best thing for him. She is what he needed. You know?
It is too much.
Yeah, too much. It is too much. Anyways, moving on. Because apparently
we're the worst again.
Yeah.
When we're like, oh, that was a nice moment. Move it along.
Let's not sit in it and let's keep her moving. Yeah. What are you most afraid of when it comes to this?
Mom said we have to swear less, and I listen to everything she says. Darlene was on some stuff. I am afraid of when I have school-age children having to make choices like where are they going to go to school? When are they going to get phones? Like logistical stuff. That's really messy right now.
Yeah, that's actually horrifying to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also, I mean, we're about to have an election.
Oh.
And have just stopped thinking about it because can I say on this podcast there's not a great answer? I love to say that. Like, it's bad, people.
It is bad. And by the time this comes out, people will have hopefully all of them voted. It's so funny. You went smaller, like, oh, phones, which, yeah, I actually think about that a lot. I think about phones and guns in school constantly. My child is one. What I'm most afraid of, I went to like when I'm 60 or when I'm 50, and it's unrealized potential. Like knowing that there were areas in which I let unrealized potential slip. And I don't have regrets in my life, really. Like I don't hold on to them. I think it's like a trait I have from Dad. I don't really remember a lot of I have a terrible memory, but I don't regret. Like I really firmly believe life happens for you generally. You just learn the lesson and you use it to do better in the future. But I've been thinking about like regrets ever since Kieran was born. Like there was a big turning point. Like what am I going to regret? What am I going to regret doing? What am I going to regret not doing? Regret has showed up. The possibility of regret has shown up a lot more for me, which is interesting. So there will always be unused potential or unidentified potential. So I don't know how to hedge my bets against that one. I mean, I think you just do your best.
I'm wondering if there's a way for you to become less ambitious for a little bit.
What? What do you mean?
When you have actually made the drastic choice to be fully with Kieran all the time.
Yeah, right now.
Which is great. And I'm wondering if you could embrace that.
But unrealized potential, I'm not just saying myself. I'm saying like for Kieran. Like, oh, he was really good at hockey when he was 6. And we decided that it was not great for him to be traveling to all these things. We didn't want to put all our money into taking him places because he had siblings. Could he have been like a huge hockey star? Like, I'm not saying for my career. I'm just like, wow, my choices really matter now, I think
I literally just said in my head, oh, Emily got a performance degree and I got a music ed degree. Because to me, I'm like, who cares if he's a great hockey player? Like, that'd be cool, but is he a good human? And I know you believe those things.
Yeah.
I guess I just like the ambition to me is so much less that I don't
think
know.
I'm that ambitious, actually.
I don't
That's
think
funny.
I don't think you let your ambition get in the way of your values. I think if you didn't have as strong of values, you'd be extremely ambitious.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Okay. What would you do if money or fear of failure wasn't a factor in your career decisions?
I think I would run this podcast with you.
Mm-hmm.
I might expand to have one with Kyle, actually, because it's just been such a fun way to build community so far. Like it's been really fun hearing from people. And we're at this point recording, we're 2 weeks in,
Yeah. Yep.
Which is just awesome. And I love having conversations with interesting people. So I would expand more on that. I just enjoy it. And I think I would create pop-up experiences in weird places with chefs all over the city and curate really fun beverage pairings. Like I would just love to create ridiculous experiences for people where they can step out of their really busy day-to-day, their stressful life, and we can say, hey, 3 hours, to your point, put your phone in this basket, enjoy these people's company, and get totally immersed and lost in this world of really interesting flavor and texture. And I think that would be fun. I would do one of those once a month, probably, just for fun. I might run like a little travel company, just getting people into like a select group of people who are actually really curious about viticulture or the food of a different region, and giving them like, I don't want it to get blown out of proportion, like I just think the internet's ruined a lot of places now for people. But man, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Those things sound fun to me. How about you?
Yeah, there'd be a lot of nature involved things, like just hiking different places and traveling. And I think I would still do choirs. I don't know that I would, like, I don't want to say I would just teach. I don't like just teaching. But I like directing.
I would start
also really do this podcast, though. I was really agreeing with what you were saying. It's just been really nice.
It's been so nice. I've loved it. I would start an O'Leary family compound.
Like how many O'Learys?
Just the 4 sisters.
Okay.
But like that we could opt in and out of. And our houses, I wouldn't want our houses to like see each other's.
Yeah.
But I'd want there to be a common space. Money's no object. I'm buying up like 100 acres. We're just, And I just think it'd be fun. Like what we could create together, I think would be fun. I think if I'd give us like, all of us 2 or 3 months salary and just kind of see what happened as a social experiment.
Like we didn't work. Like we were just like living in community.
Yeah, like what happens? What do you want to do at this time?
Lord.
Is Sadie planting like a massive vegetable garden and homesteading like she always said she would? Am I building out like a ridiculous wine cellar and like creating, who knows?
You know what is happening? Sadie's going, no, Callie, I'm not going. I'm saying, okay, see you at 8 a.m. for a group workout session. And Sadie's saying, have fun.
Yeah. 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 No, you've got like the yoga studio happening. Yeah.
And Naomi's
you don't do yoga, like something that makes me sweat more.
No, I do it. Yeah, no, I'm not very good at it. Naomi has a sweet recording studio going on, and the boys and Naomi in my head, actually.
Oh, 100%.
It is the boys and Naomi in this like cool windowed recording studio.
Oh my God. No, it's the boys being horrifying and Naomi being like, hey, get it together. We're actually trying to make something here.
I was picturing her being like, oh yeah, maybe she smoked a little weed, but she doesn't do it all. But somehow in my head, she's like, oh, that was a cool sound. Yeah, I'm going to add that. All right,
what I'm saying is,
oh, that was actually cool.
I bet Naomi has a blueprint in her head, though, or she comes up with one later when the boys are just like, bleh.
Mm-hmm. And then suddenly it's this like cool digital something or other.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get through all of ChatGPT's questions, but I mean, honestly, thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah, that was fruitful.
Yeah, nice moderator.
Yeah, I'm going to try to convince Sadie and Naomi to come on.
Oh, absolutely. We have to do our husbands too. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone who's been tuning in. It's been a delight to share conversations with you and share family members with you. We've got Auntie Megan coming up next week, which will be a treat.
And our mother, some grandmas.
Yeah.
I think you and I are both just hoping to create valuable conversation. So if there's something that, our listeners really want to hear about, it's probably something that you and I also really want to talk about.
Yeah.
So
Eventually, we're going to have some experts on. So please do let us know if there's anything you'd like us to address with the experts. We will queue some up for your listening pleasure. And in these beginning stages, it is really, really helpful to get our subscription count up. So if you haven't already,
please write a review if you can. That'd be great.
Yes, please give us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you listen. We're also on TikTok. I have no idea how to TikTok.
I was going to say I've never been on our TikTok before.
I just looked at the For You page today. It's a wild, wild west out there. I don't know how this works. We're on Instagram. Give us a follow.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, all. Thanks, Callie.
Love you.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Real Mom Hub. Our music is by Naomi O'Leary. You can find us on social at The Real Mom Hub. We're not the authority or even very educated on the medical issues discussed. Do your own research, talk to an expert, make your own decisions, and call us if you learn anything new.
If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram, or better yet, subscribe to our newsletter. If you don't, that's fine. We can all move on. Our purpose here is community, so if we've resonated with you, tell a friend.
Thanks for listening.